Hello everyone, Justin here, and today we're going to draw a Celtic knot variation in the shape of a heart, and we can just call it a Celtic heart. But let's start with a vertical line and then a horizontal line to form a cross, and then draw a diagonal. And what we're going to do is basically make a diamond shape so that this is a mirror of this side, and this line will be parallel to that, and this line will be parallel to that. So now what we're going to do is we'll give this a certain thickness, so let's just say that thickness, and then make this also a little thicker by drawing inside of the initial lines, and here and here. Now you can go ahead and bisect this inner diamond, and what we're going to do is draw another pair of arms, same thickness as this. So because this is smack in the middle, what we're going to do is have half the thickness on this side of the line and the other part of the thickness on this side, just like that. So you can just eyeball this. Okay, so basically what we have is a diamond with a cross in the middle. Try to keep them all about the same thickness, and I'm gonna go ahead and just erase some of these lines now. Okay, so what we're gonna have here is this arm continuing in an arc to go into this. So this part is the outer part of the arm, and this is the outer part. So let's just start with this side right here, continue it, and draw a half circle like that. So now we can continue the thickness, add the thickness. So now Celtic knots tend to be very symmetrical and balanced. So let's look at how high we drew this curve, and just continue this line across, just so we know when we draw this side that it should go this high. Okay, so let's do that. Continue this arm to that line and then come back and give it some thickness. Again, let's draw another line that's parallel to the center line, just so we know how far to draw the lower curves. So let's just start with this left side. So let's continue this arm out and start curving so it doesn't go past this line, just like up here, and it's gonna meet up with this line here. So make that fairly symmetric and then give it some thickness. Okay, just like what we did up here, let's draw a horizontal line here, just so we now have our reference lines for where to draw this arm as it curves. So here, let's continue it down to that line, and this line as well, to this reference line, and then give it some thickness. Okay, so this will end up actually being the center of our design. Okay, so now what we're going to do, these upper arms here will continue to form our heart. So this part you can just make however way you want, but you want to make sure you clear these arms here. So let's just make this, actually let's do this inner line first, just so we know we will miss the Celtic knot inside, and meet up in the middle right here. Okay, So now, to make this symmetrical, look at the distance between this and this line. Here to about there, and this line right here, the distance here is about right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to hit those. And what you can also do is, again, look at how high that left lobe of that heart ended up, and just make it to that line. Curve it to meet your reference point there, and start making this right side line for the heart, so you again hit this reference point and try to meet up in the middle. Check to see if it's fairly symmetric. Remember, this is the inside of the heart shape. This is symmetric with this. So now we can continue and give it some thickness. Again, try to make it about as thick as the inner part of the design. Doesn't have to be perfect. So by using these reference lines, you can have a little more accuracy in trying to make it symmetric and even. Otherwise, it'll appear lopsided. Okay, that's pretty much the Celtic heart. So let's see where these overlap and go under. So let's just start with this arm going this way. And like I said before, this particular design has no beginning and no end. It's a continuous design. So let's look at this arm. It's gonna go over this arm here. So let's just make that a little bit darker. Go over this arm, and then it's gonna go under this. So we'll stop right here and make our overlapping arm a little bit darker, so that it shows that this arm's going under. Okay, again, we're gonna go over, then under. So this arm is gonna go over this arm, so make it thick, and then it's gonna go under the next intersecting arm, like that. So over, under. So let's make that thick now, so that we don't make a mistake later. Okay, we're gonna start again. Over this arm, then under. So again, we'll just make this line thick and heavy, darker, and stop right here. Again, this arm right here is gonna go over. Okay, following this, so we went over this arm, then under this arm. So next, continue. First intersecting line, here we go over, like that, and then under this. So this arm right here will be over, and that pretty much does it. We now know every intersecting point where we know which arm goes over the other. So now we can darken all the lines. So now that we have the outline of our design, you can shade it just like we did with the simple Celtic knot that we did earlier in another video. But in this situation, let's do something just a little bit different. Let's pretend the light's coming from above, from the top here, going down. And all of these overlying arms throw a cast shadow on the arm that's underneath. So let's just do a simple cast shadow here. Let's make it straight. Okay, just by adding these simple cast shadows, it immediately looks more three-dimensional. And notice that by making these cast shadows straight, it implies that this surface is square or flat. Now let's imagine that this cross is actually tubular. So it'll have a round cross section. So when the shadow gets cast onto this arm, the shadow will actually be rounded as well. So the part of this arm that's closest to this is right in the middle, but then this surface as it goes around this arm is farther away from this, so the shadow itself will be thrown further away. So let's just make this a little bit curved. Like that. And without any more work, any more shading, you already know that the surface is a tube, rounded, just by how you drew the shadow. Okay? But if you're gonna do that, you'll have to add some shadow to these arms to make it look like they're, again, rounded. So remember the light's coming from up here going down. So all the lower surfaces will be darker. So let's just make these darker. The far surface from the light's coming from above the top of the page. So this part right here, which is the top of the tube, is light, and this part here at the bottom will be darker, and I'll just add a slow gradient, and again right here. Now you look at this curve again. Remember that the lightest part will be at the top here, but then it's going to transition as we go here so that the light is right here. So in turn, the shadow area starts from here, ends here, and then it starts up again here to go around this curve. So let's just add a little bit of a gradient. Again, dark edge here, and lighten up the pressure to get a nice gradient to the light area. And I'll just do this for the rest of the design. So again here, you've got a transition between the light area, which is up here, transitioning to the top area of this. So this light area here will cross over to the top part of this bottom section. So I'm going to add shadow here, and then increase the shadow as we get to the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to just go back and darken some of the darker areas with this pencil, which has a softer lead, and darken the shadows here, the cast shadows. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use my blending stump just to smooth things out a little bit. So I'm just drawing this on cardstock, which is pretty smooth, kind of like Bristol paper. So this, to me, this blending stump doesn't have as much of an effect, as it's a little more subtle than using it on sketchbook paper that has more tooth, more surface texture, which is fine. That's kind of what I want actually, to make it more of a smooth gradient. Alright, so that's pretty much it. One option on something like this, so the way I kinda shaded this, it's just a round tube with a smooth transition from the edges to the inside, or to the top where it's brighter. One thing you can do is, if it's more of a shiny chrome-like mirror finish, is that you can add actual lines, dark lines closer towards the shadow side, and that kind of indicates the reflection of something that's in the surroundings. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. It can be a little bit wavy like this. And that is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that and learned a little something, got something out of it. And if so, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please comment, tell me what you think. And I will see you at the next video. Thanks and have a great day.